Hi, everybody. Welcome to the post 420 show. And this time, you're going to be seeing a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh action on the screen. Because friends have been getting me back into Master Duel after trying so hard to get me back into the game. Even though I was already playing it, it was just like the amount of people that you play on here are just obnoxious. But hey, that's what it's all about now. So, tonight, we decided to talk about reality shows because Sylph brought up something yesterday that had something to do with a reality show, and I figure that's pretty much all reality shows have practically the same effect when it comes to how people get treated after they get off the show and how their mental health starts to go into decline after that. So we decided to blend them all together into one and talk about it in a more general sense. So with that being said, as I play Yu-Gi-Oh on here,
And a small heads up, this topic might get a little bit heavy. There's a lot of people who have been on reality shows where it's basically destroyed their life, and some people have lost their lives from stuff like this.
yes. But so since you had the article, why don't you go ahead and
Oh, right,
talk
sorry.
about it?
All right, so I the article that I linked was about, well, I got this from r/television, where the former Love Is Blind cast members talk about how, like, the stuff on Netflix. Hold on, I
Uh,
gotta. It's been a while since I've read this article, so I just gotta go through it again, just for a little refresh. Basically, one of the cast members says that the show literally ruins lives, and let's see. Okay. Here's an important one. According to cast members' contracts, contestants who wanted to leave the show early, without producer approval, would have to pay $50,000 in damages to Kinetic. Couples who got engaged on the show were contractually obligated to show up to their wedding days, even if they knew far earlier that they did not want to marry their partner. Those who go
Oh,
through
hell
with
no.
it gets worse, it gets worse. Those who go through with the marriage are forbidden from divorcing until after the last episode of the season airs.
yeah, because they have
And
like
then,
they have a law, they have a rule in like the contract that says you can't disclose anything until can't disclose anything until like the whole season ends.
and then, oh, wait. Why are they? Someone's echoing, by the way.
Not me.
I'm looking at this article right now, and one person says, I mean, not one person, in one part it
Hmm.
says, fair warning, it gets a whole lot worse than a white woman getting bullied on the internet for feeding her dog wine. You're not supposed to do. How much of that was actual bullying and more of why people going, why are you abusing your dog? Because like that could kill them.
I don't know.
Yeah, it can cause lethargy, respiratory depression, and dangerously low body temperature. And it's made from grapes, which is toxic to dogs and could cause kidney failure. Uh, a former cast member who chose to remain anonymous told Insider that filming was a traumatic experience. They were expected to film 20-hour days for nearly 2 weeks, all while producers micromanaged their eating and sleeping schedules. Food and water was often scarce, while alcohol was constant. Several unnamed production assistants claimed they were often urged to top off contestants' drinks as much as possible. And so we got a situation here, not enough food, not enough water, but these assholes are like getting people drunk like all the time. And then the set was windowless, meaning that they only saw meaning that contestants only saw sunshine when they used the bathroom in the trailer outside. So, like, yikes. And, these people are just isolated and just treated like absolute shit. It's the entire time. Someone had fainted during the pod dating period. Likely because she hadn't eaten, slept, or drunk enough water. And rather than giving her medical attention, a crew member made her take a COVID test and then had her film a confessional after she regains consciousness.
Like immediately afterwards.
Mm-hmm. After, like, oh, you think, like, oh, hey, wait. It probably would be a lawsuit if we let this person who's at higher risk of getting injured, like, continue this. Oh, no, let's fuck that. Let's put them in front of a camera. They signed this. Their lives are meaningless. Probably what these assholes are thinking. See, here's another one. They were one PA who worked on season 2 and 3 said they were not allowed to speak to the contestants. We were told if a girl comes on the bus and she feels self-conscious, feeling bad about her body, don't respond. Just ice her. The weird cult vibe of don't talk to them, they can't talk to you. It's all about isolation. Yeah. The environment was so brutal that a cast member, Jeremy Hartwell, wound up suing Netflix and the production company Kinetic Content in June of last year, alleging they had violated labor laws and exposed contestants to unsafe and inhumane working conditions. Hartwell said that he had been given $1,000 a week, lease stipend, with a maximum payment of $8,000 for the entire filming experience, which translates to about $7.14 an hour. Not even minimum wage.
Yeah, only 15 cents above the average, unless the average has gone up, which is not even that good.
Hold on.
And depending on what state he lived in, like the cost of living definitely would have been more
$7.25 an hour.
Yep.
And this guy was getting a $7.14, which that's the federal minimum.
Yeah, which hasn't been changed in years, by the way. That thing has been around like for decades. They haven't even bumped it up. They've been trying to get it to 15. Like now they're trying to only do it on state levels, but there's been a cry for, the average to go up. But I'm getting into political mode, sorry.
I know. Oh, no, it's fine. I was just about to say, like, the state that I grew up in, it's now $15 an hour.
Yeah. And you're in a relatively blue state, so obviously they're going to be on board with that. Even though down here we voted for it 4 years ago. And it's been slowly kicking in ever since.
All right, I'm going to continue with the article. Basically, it just goes on to say that the work environment was completely toxic. That quote that I mentioned about how people were contractually obligated to, like, get to the wedding, even if they knew it wasn't going to last. Season 3 contestant. There was a Season 3 contestant, Brennan, I don't know how to pronounce this, so, Lemieux? It's spelled Lemeux. Lemieux?
Yeah, Lemieux.
Okay, he was accused of assaulting a 22-year-old woman months before filming. Former cast members have also told Insider that there weren't any adequate mental health services. Several of them had become depressed after the show ending. One person quit their job because their mental health was that bad. This one's really sad. I literally begged for help and I didn't get it, Thompson said. Like, I want to fix my marriage that you thrust us into for profit, and it was nothing. And then, the freaking Paramount people are trying to, like, act like they didn't do any shit by trying to say that there's protocols. Okay. Okay, Jan. And that's pretty much just the article.
Okay.
So this toxic work environment, people who aren't getting like the resources that they need, and just a lot of exploitation going on.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Just and here, a very interesting comment that someone wrote. Wait, what are they replying to? I don't know that any of these terms would actually hold up in court. I think it's a scare tactic. And then someone replies, it's relatively common language in these type of contracts, I believe, even for game shows. My SO went on Weakest Link, and the contract basically threatens to sue them for millions if they spoil the result of their episode. Amongst other nonsense that would never hold up. Oh. That... I'm not sure how much of that, like, works in some... I mean, how much of that is comparable, because... again, it's...
Yeah, reality shows and
game show
shows...
and different...
Yeah, game shows and reality shows are, like, different in terms of,
Oh, wait, they just put... My point was never to make a one-to-one comparison, just saying that reality show contracts, regardless of show type, seem to rely on scare tactics, so you can... Okay. Stop informing them of this. Oh, another comment of, seems like a more ethical way to do this is have a wedding on the show, but not file the actual legal paperwork to be married for anyone until after the show airs. That way nobody can look through records for spoilers and nobody is being forced into weird situations like the show is apparently creating. Oh. Unless you guys have anything else to add, or...
Well, let's see. I mean, the idea of... There's actually a book that I have in my Audible list that actually goes over the history of reality shows and, like, how... Oh, shit, it destroyed everything on the field. Sorry, I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At the same time. Yeah, but it pretty much, like, demonstrates, like, how it became popular, how, like, what the very first one was, why it became so popular, and why it's been catching on in the eyes of, like, many people around the world, and what's its intended purpose and everything. So I gotta check out that audiobook once I'm done with the one I'm currently listening to. But from the preview that I got from the author, a lot of it is basically the... reality shows are a window into the current intricacies of society and how they see things on a mainstream level. So everything that you're seeing on there, and I've actually talked to a couple of reality show contestants, Hisugi, who used to be a co-host of the show, talked to, or actually knows a lot of Amazing Race contestants because she's friends with them on Facebook, and she's planning on starting her own Amazing Race podcast, and she wants me to co-host, which we are both Amazing Race fans. It's probably like the one reality show that we've heard nothing, like no bad things. Like everybody that has been on the show said it was a great experience. Yeah, the producers all treated them fairly, hosts treated them fairly, and it was like technically a race, so it was like very challenging, and people love the challenges. despite the fact that it was like, oh my god, we have to eat the food there. And I'm like, yeah, you're in another country. Of course you're gonna eat their cuisine. What do you think the producers are just gonna be like? Here's a plate of American food for you to have while you're at the pit stop. Like, no, you eat their food. It won't be. It can't be that bad. It was just like sometimes they go to a country. I'm like, oh, like the contestants would go there. I'm like, what are these people? I'm like, really? Everything outside of America is like really foreign to you. But anyway, I'm rambling. But one of the contestants that that Hisugi and I interviewed, they were like the first team eliminated, so their exposure to the show wasn't that strong. But from what they told me and how they got on the show, one of them actually tried to get on Survivor originally, and they didn't make the cut because they didn't feel like that a Jewish character would really be fun on an island to watch. Those are his words, not mine. And so they said, hey, you might be a good fit if you happen to know somebody else and could be on The Amazing Race, because a lot of the CBS producers really knew each other. So I said to him, well, what made you guys get on the show? Why did they pick you? And they said, well, it's because there were specific characters that the producers were looking for. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said the quality of the characters that they look for on a particular season, there's a specific story that these producers are trying to tell. And they want certain characters, or they want people to portray these characters that they're obviously going for. It's like any audition for a TV show or a movie. And if you are playing into that character that they provide for you, they will automatically put you on the show instantly. And so a lot of the people, when they act like they do on reality shows, the chances are they're not actually being their authentic selves. They are being a character that the producers are telling them to play, and then a lot of times the producers will get in their ears about certain things. And, they'll try to play up the character so that they could stay on the show longer, because usually with these reality shows, there's a cash prize that comes at the end of it, because a lot of these people got on there because of the cash money. Or sometimes they're hoping, like a lot of these dating stuff is now becoming reality shows, and they really want to get married. They're sick of the single life. They don't want to be labeled an incel. They don't want to be labeled virgin. They don't want to be labeled Kevin. They don't want to be labeled anything like those. So they go on these shows and they think like, well, I got 6-pack abs. I work out. I do all this. How is it I'm not getting a date? And then the woman will say, well, I do all this makeup. I do all these pretty stuff. Why am I not doing it? And constantly in interviews, you hear these things. And they will play it up so that they can get the result that they want, which is, ooh, I get a chance to get married, and then I'll get married after the show. So as they're going through it, and from what you've been reading from this article, they're going through it, but in the process of going through it, they are realizing that the thing that they were hoping for is not coming to fruition. But they play it up because they don't want to believe in the lie, so to speak. They want to believe that everything is a fairy tale Disney ending, almost. And they're that close. They're so close to it. They're so close. And eventually when the show's over and the producers don't have a need for them anymore, they get thrown by the wayside. That's when things start kicking in for them. And they realized that a lot of the stuff that they were doing on the show was just meaningless. Like, their popularity goes away immediately. Unless, of course, they decide to do an all-star season and they bring it back. It's like, oh, wasn't this... remember when this person was memorable for being a dick on the show? And they were like the villain of the season and everything? So... This happens in almost every reality show that I've seen, and they all follow the same playbook. And maybe we can go into more detail when we talk about other particular shows that weren't mentioned in the article, ones that we've experienced and seen. This is something that definitely needs to be brought up a lot more. Like, definitely. And I think over time, there's going to have to come a point where it needs to be like its own discussion. It needs to be its own discussion, talked about in, even if it comes to like college, even if it's like a college course, and you go over like how like stuff like this can be problematic in certain aspects of it. And I think that would be very beneficial. And even for stuff like YouTube, like even talking about this stuff on YouTube is really, really, if you get like a good history of it, you will definitely improve you'll definitely improve like how you feel about certain how you felt about reality shows in the first place, because a lot of people tune in because it's entertaining in their minds. And at some point as the younger generations go, so it's like, wait a minute, why did people find this entertaining to watch? This is kind of like bullshit in a lot of ways in their minds. So that's generally what I've been rambling on for the past few minutes, but that's what my take is so far.
Yeah, just as you were describing some of the stuff, I know this is kind of off topic, but could some of like how the people when they get off the show, could it be compared to like the burnout that happens to the child stars? Because that's what I was thinking of, where like they're grown up and just either they like either like they manage to find something that's similar to the role that people knew them as, or just completely fall off of the face of the earth.
Well, remember Screech from Saved by the Bell? There's an entire documentary on him, like, and how he went from being this child star to all of a sudden being on Saved by the Bell and just being like, what the hell happened here? Like, how did this happen? How did this kid go from being like such a popular character to then all of a sudden like just have this completely criminal background afterwards? Right, at least Jaleel White, after he got done with Urkel, like, yes, he hated playing the character because everybody just knew him as Urkel, and he barely got any work outside Sonic.
I was about to say, like, I know him as Sonic.
Yeah, but but even then, after the Sonic stuff was over, it's like you never really did anything afterwards. And so people were like saying, and then people were saying like, oh, whatever happened to that guy? And it's like, well, he's around. But yeah, so there's some comparisons to that, except with reality shows, this deals mostly with adults, and especially as you get older. And like I said, with Hisugi, like every single person that was on The Amazing Race has said like it was a great experience. Nobody had any issues. It's like the one reality show where everybody's got like nothing but praise for. There's been no back and forths with producers because you're constantly moving all the time. You don't have time to interact with producers at that time because you're literally in a race trying to get $1 million at the end of it, which the show's been on for 20 years, and I say to myself, you haven't upped the prize money. Why not make it like more than that, especially since inflation happened? Like that's the few complaints that I have with that people have had with the show is either it's because the racers that end up making it into the final three are just like the most boring racers ever and they somehow just make it through, or B, it's because the places that they go to are just not good, or they're like celebrities from like other shows, because a lot of times they're like, oh hey, here's this couple from Survivor, here's this couple from Big Brother, don't you remember them from those shows? Well, now they're on this one. And he was like, oh, just get regular people, or just stop getting people that have been famous for doing something elsewhere. Like, I know you're trying to get ratings, it's just ridiculous. Just get like regular people how you used to do it. Like that, like the casting decisions are really what bothers people now. But when it comes to other reality shows, like I know there's been like Survivor. I just started watching Survivor, and the amount of sexual harassment cases that have been made on that show is ridiculous. In fact, the season I'm currently watching right now, there apparently was apparently a sexual assault on the island on one of the teams, and so they talked about they full-fledged made this a storyline on the show. And instead of the producers saying, okay, we're going to take these accusations seriously, we're going to stop the show, and we're going to see what actually happened. No, they just turned it into its own storyline. The producers let it go on end. The person who made the charge against the other contestant ended up getting voted off the island because they were considered too much of a dramatic person. And, of course, the old, this person should just stay in the kitchen type of deal. Because these were the people on her own team that had the opportunity, and they all just voted her out because it's like, oh, too much drama, and you're just making the person that you're accusing just look, you're ruining their characters. So,
shut the fuck up, like if that were me, I just and if I ended up getting voted off, I'd leave and just burn bridge kind of thing, like.
And I think the person that got voted off, I think that they actually were going to sue the producers. And from what I understand, and I haven't finished the season yet, but from what I understand, they were, and I could be totally wrong on this, so maybe I'll be wrong when I watch it later. But from what I understand, there was so much of a kerfuffle with the way things went down that they invited them back on the show, and they think they made it into the final 3. Which I guess pissed a lot of other people off. It's like, wait a minute, they got voted off, and now all of a sudden they're back. It's like, yeah, but the circumstances.
Be mad.
Yeah, but the circumstances and how they were voted off, it was just a bunch of angry people that didn't like the fact that, it's because reactionary content. Let's just say that there were a lot of reactionaries on that island.
And mob mentality.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, considering they didn't like the fact, it's like, well, wait a minute, why are you doing this to this poor person? Like, they got a family back at home. Anyway,
I really hate when people are like, oh, why are you ruining this guy's life? This guy chose to be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He should face
consequences
for being, a predator and a piece of shit.
While on a show where they're all trapped on an island.
The fact that he wasn't dragged through the streets is something he should be thanking whatever higher being he believes in.
Yeah, and the fact that they didn't even acknowledge it, the producers-wise on the show, they just let it be its own storyline. Because it's like, ooh, drama people, tune into the show to see what happens next.
Yeah, because they don't see them as people. They just see them as walking piggy banks.
Yes, they're little rats in a maze trying to see what the experiment is. I mean, oh god, let's not talk about Big Brother. Big Brother was like the ultimate show that does that. I don't know if anybody's watched the show or know what the concept is.
I think I vaguely know it. There's this article that I found that was for I'm not comfortable reading it, but if you know what the turkey slap is.
Nope.
Oh, there's an article about Big Brother, I think Australia, where... What's a nice way of putting this? A guy hits someone in the face with his... fill in the blank.
Oh.
And they made a joke of her reaction.
Oh, what
did he do that to them did he do it to them when they were asleep?
Maybe I'm trying to look through it.
That is nasty, dude. Sorry.
And the guy's like, oh, it was just a practical joke. What's the punchline?
What the fuck is the punchline? There is no punchline. You're just slapping you know what in somebody's face.
Yeah, you're just
that's assault.
Yeah, you're just an asshole.
You could go to jail for that BS,
and then the guy's crying that he's like, the show ruined my life, and that he'd be branded a rapist on national TV. Yeah, because it's not inaccurate. It's not wrong.
Did it to yourself, you dumbass.
Oh, and let's see. The show lasted 2 more seasons, but ratings had fell so much by 2008 that it was canceled.
Of course. Because
Rightfully so.
yeah, once the audience reacts, you know you fucked up.
Just
Uh-huh.
But I don't know much about the Australian Big Brother. I've only seen the first 3 seasons of Big Brother because I'm currently watching Amazing Race and Survivor right now. But
hold on a sec. I'm looking at this guy, and he looks like if 2006 douche aesthetic was a person. Like,
well, what are 2006 douche aesthetics?
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, I don't know. Just first thing I was thinking of.
Like Kevin.
Yeah, kind of. But also like the. Hold on, I gotta look this up to make sure I got it right. Hair gelled up, he looks like the honeycomb monster.
Oh God, no, thank you. I do not want that.
Oh, wait, no, it's even worse than what I... Alright, so, yeah, there are two people involved in this incident. One held the girl down, and the other, slapped her with his baby carrot. Like, what the fuck's the joke?
I'm gonna look at baby carrots the same. I'm never gonna look at baby carrots the same way again. Thank you, Sylph.
Sorry.
But then again, I like celery anyway, so you good.
So my point for the show of Big Brother, because I was going to go into the intricacies of what they do, and like the first season.
Go ahead.
Like the first season of the first episode of the first season, like they really dwelled into like how they do this shit. So, technically, so they trap about 10 people, or there's probably even more now in the later seasons, but they put 10 people into this
House, mansion, or
it's not
apartment,
no, it's not even a house. It's a production studio that they did at CBS Studios. And so they trap these 10 people inside the house, and they have to make them stay in the house for about 3 months. And everything they do is taped. So every action that they do, they have multiple cameras inside. And they pretty much give them tasks to do each day. Like sometimes they have to do like team challenges. Sometimes they have to do, you know, just like interviews in what they call the red room, which is basically the interview room where the producer sits behind the camera and they just interview everybody that's there.
Like confessional?
Yes.
Oh, like the thing that they had on Total Drama with like the outhouse.
Yeah, that's what they got the idea from, Big Brother. Which, by the way, started in Germany, I believe. It wasn't even an American concept. But it was just a bunch of German people in a house, and they were all just partying and having sex.
Oh.
So America decided, oh, hey, let's take this show and take out the drunkenness and the sex and then just make it about stuff. But so the first season, what they did was they trapped these 10 people in there, and they ranged from strippers to black activists to somebody who would later go on to be a millionaire when it comes to makeup companies, but was like a former beauty queen. There was another contestant that was a lawyer, but he was like a very boring lawyer. But then again, most lawyers, personality-wise, unless they're Phoenix Wright, you're not gonna get a lot of personality from lawyers.
Like, are you talking like boring, like dry personality, like Larry?
No, not even close to Larry. Larry is intolerable. This guy rarely said anything. Like he was
so like more like the And what the fuck were they called? Like the things from Fairly Odd Parents that were the opposite of the fairies.
The anti-fairies?
Pixies?
Were they
They
called
were the
pixies?
ones that.
I thought they were called anti-fairies.
No, the other ones. The other ones that were like monotone.
Oh, I don't know. There was a certain point where I stopped watching Odd Parents, so I don't
I'm
know.
gonna look this up just to make sure I got it right.
All right,
I think it was the.
Take your
Yeah, it
time
was the
with
Pixies that I'm thinking of.
Okay. So, I since I don't know that much about like the Pixies' personality, you said they were monotone, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they
One
were
of them was voiced by Ben Stein.
Okay. They're like okay, now I know what you're talking about. They're like business people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he necessarily had a personality like the Pixies. I would say like there was some of it in there, but he just kept to himself a lot. But he did assimilate into the culture a lot, is what I'll say.
Oh.
He tried to do everything that the group told him to do, and they liked him so much that they just kept him around. Because he was good company. Yeah, so I mentioned the stripper, the black activist, the lawyer. There was a woman who was a mother of several kids and just hated her husband. Like, went so far as to talk about her bad marriage on live television and recorded things. And by the way, the producers knew about this after they, because she went into vivid detail about her husband on the show and how much she hated him. And the producers like, oh yeah, this is great. We'll bring you on here. So there was one portion in like one episode where she went into this whole diatribe about how after she married him, they never kissed at once in their 25-year marriage, not once. And also went into this whole spiel about how they haven't had sex. The only times they ever had sex when they were trying to get kids. Never did any like romantic dinners. Never did anything. It was just like a very, in her words, very boring type of marriage. And so they brought her on. So she was one. There was another one who used to work for the United Nations, which was an interesting one. But the problem was they got her. She was about 40 years old. So compared to everybody else who are like in their 20s, she was like the one adult in the room that everyone was just like, huh. I was like, why is this 40-year-old hanging out with a bunch of 20-year-olds? Like, what is this shit? Like, they thought that she
Did they expect her to be the mom?
Yes. She was going to be the mom of the group. Now, the dad of the group, let's just say that he's like one of these Midwestern guys that's got like, yeah, I got a roofing company and I got me a family and a lot of times I like to do some like weird shit. Like I like to go play with the chickens and all that stuff. So they brought him on to be the dad, so to speak. Another one that they brought on was he looked like a member of a boy band. I'm just gonna call him a boy band guy, even though he's not really a boy band guy. He's literally he's a Southern California surfer dude. Best way I could describe him. And he was like the teenage heartthrob that I'll get into the whole AOL thing because that's how people voted like who got to stay on the show. Because
gosh, that is old.
What is old?
AOL.
Oh yeah, because AOL at the time, because AOL sponsored the first season of the show because this was in 2000, so they wanted to try to get that. Because since the general election in 2000 was going on, they really wanted to take not only did they want to take advantage of AOL because they really wanted to try to get AOL to really be a part of it at the time. But they said like, yeah, it will be great to have people vote for. I'll get into the whole rules of it, but yeah, they brought him on as the teenage heartthrob. because, he definitely looked like it. Oh, I won without even trying. Anyway, then they brought on, because I'm trying to think. Okay, so they brought in this girl, and she was like one of those girls that's like, oh, hey, I work for a very conservative company, and I have conservative friends, but in my personal life, I like to really be progressive. Like, I like to change my hair color, and I'm a feminist, and all, and when I say, like, change her hair color, I mean she changes her hair color almost every day. Like, one day she'll be blonde, the next day she'll have pink hair, the next day she'll have green, and then red. She'll go through all the different colors of the spectrum. And she always tries to play herself off as like, I'm trying to be different from my conservative parents. I'm trying to show how progressive I am. Turns out later, this girl ended up becoming a crypto bro.
Of course she did. Gotta keep up that quirky, not like other girls.
Yeah,
in new creative ways.
She wanted to be an actress. She wanted to go to Hollywood, which ultimately, after the show, that's what she did. She got an agent, and for what I understand, she was in she was like a background character in one major show, and then that's all she did. Then she started selling crypto. I'm trying to think who else was on this. Okay, and then the winner of the show, he was a one-legged guy who lost his leg to some form of cancer, I believe. So he was like one of those wheelchair basketball players. But the thing was, he was like really into like horror movies. He was into wrestling. He's like one of those guys that he's one of those New York. He definitely has a New York attitude, because he definitely has that whole, yo, I like to watch wrestling. I like to watch sports. And when my friends are around, I like to watch horror movies with them and then just burp and fart until I'm no longer drunk. He's a frat boy. Total frat boy. So he ultimately won the show because everybody had pity for him because he only had one leg. And the cash prize was $500,000. It's like, oh, but he really needs the money. So that's, by the way, the people that got to pick who the winner was the people who watched the show. You had to have an AOL account, and you had to vote online. Well, first of all, here's how it worked. So the 10 people live in this house, and after about 2 weeks of people watching what their daily life is like, the audience would vote for 2 people that they want to see get kicked out of the show. And of course, the first people that they want to vote out are the black guy who's telling everybody like, oh, the black guy who's trying to tell everybody about like how white America pretty much like destroyed like any progressivism that black people were getting into, because like that girl that changes her hair colors all the time, like she got into an argument with him over it, and she did the whole, well, I have black friends.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, so it's like, so right away I was like, oh, she is definitely going to be a conservative later in life. And then sure enough, crypto bro. But no, they got rid of him because it's like, oh, he's just disrupting the fun that we're going to have here. He's destroying life here. And then of course they got rid of and they also wanted to vote off the stripper, because it's like, oh my God, it turns out she's a stripper. They didn't really want to say that on camera, but they didn't like the fact that there was somebody in here in the house that literally takes their clothes off for money. And she was like, well, wait, why is that a bad thing? It's like, well, because you're a stripper and we have families. We don't want to be associated with that, because then they're going to think that you stripped in front of us. They didn't say that on air, but they were definitely thinking that. And it's like, this is supposed to be a family, and here we have a black guy and a stripper. So, and because the audience saw the other contestants react to it, what they did was they voted for them. And then the next week afterwards, what would happen is, after they figured out the 2 people the audience wanted voted out of the house, they would then vote again the next week over, out of the 2, who's the worst. And so they eventually went with the black guy, because what happened was, during a team challenge, he had purposely made the team lose because they voted him. They wanted to the audience wanted to vote him out because he thought they were responsible for it. So they saw it as like, oh, look at him. He betrayed them. At least the stripper was actually being a team player. He wasn't being a team player. Therefore, we need to get rid of him. They were looking for any excuse. And then in the next elimination cycle, they got rid of the stripper over the boring lawyer guy. The boring lawyer guy got voted out. He's like, oh, he's just so boring. And then they put him up against the stripper, and they were like, wait a minute. Like, would we really keep a stripper over a lawyer? I think the lawyer will actually be more beneficial than the stripper. And then they get rid of the stripper. Then they get rid of the mom because the mom is basically just doing therapy in the. It's not even really therapy. I shouldn't even say that, but she's practically just airing out everything. Like, I hate my husband. I hate my husband. I want him to die. All this shit. And then they interviewed the husband, and he's like, I can't believe she's saying all these things about me. Yeah, I have a hard time getting my emotions out. And then she's like, I don't care what he thinks. And then I was like, as soon as I get out of this fucking house, I want a fucking divorce and all this stuff.
Did they actually get divorced?
No.
Of course.
Go figure.
She got a house in California, and she was like, "Oh, I really need to think about this." I got the house in California, and then eventually she's like, "Oh, California's too expensive. I'm going to move back to the Midwest and live back with my husband." So that's how that turned out. The next one was the colored-haired girl. Because what happened was the people, the dad of the group, his family was so upset that the most popular person on the show was the girl with the colored hair. They really, the audience loved her. They said that she should be the one to win because look at her. She's coloring her hair. She's not a conservative. She's doing all this stuff. Then, of course, the dad's family outside the house was looking at this going, oh, that B word. We are going to fucking kick her ass out of here. And then, sure enough, what happens? They decide to do an entire campaign to get her voted out of the show. So they even had the telephone company in the town behind them, and you had to pay by phone in order to get these phone calls. The phone company basically let everybody do this for free. So they could make as many phone calls as they want, and the phone company just said, "Yeah, we'll let them call as many times as they want to." And so that's how she was voted out. And then once people found out that there was this whole campaign in this little town that the dad had about it, oh boy, the audience purposely voted the dad out for payback reasons. Which, by the way, the dad hated it. But I was like, what? Why is this the case? Like, what? And by the way, he loved getting his hair dyed. Like, he went, the dad is like a 50-year-old man that's like the most prototypical conservative Christian man that loves playing with chickens on his farm. And he was like, oh, yeah, you know what? I'm totally down with getting makeup on. I'm totally willing to do my fingernails. Oh, you want to do my toenails? By all means, go ahead. Paint me up. Do everything you want to me, ladies. And then he's like, oh, will you dye my hair? And everyone's thinking like, wait a minute. Is he like is there like some repressed emotions that are going on in this guy's head? Because he's really on board with all this stuff. And so after he got out, he came out with blonde hair, and he was like, oh, do you feel bad about it? And I was like, no, I don't feel bad that I got eliminated. But no, he was like, when he found out that everybody oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I told a lie. Sorry. The audience got to vote out of the two who should get voted out of the house, but the people inside the house picked two people inside that they wanted to see get kicked out. My bad. So it was actually worse that they picked the black guy and the stripper in the beginning, because the rest of the people in the house were like, ugh. But when the dad found out that the rest of the house voted for him, he was laughing so hard. Like he was like laughing at all of them, like almost like Dr. Eggman. But like you could just tell, like he was just mad. He was seething inside. He's like, I want to get this money for my family. I'm trying to think who they voted out next. Oh, they voted out the United Nations person because they're like, she's old. She's not like us 20-year-olds. She's old. Let's get her out of here. And it's like, and the audience was like, yeah, we agree. She's old. Let's get her out of here.
Yikes.
Then it came down to the frat boy. So the final four. It was the frat boy. It was the lawyer. Which the people were surprised that he even lasted that long. But apparently he assimilated so much they kept him in there. The teen pop star. That wasn't even a teen pop star. And the beauty queen. And so the audience voted out the beauty queen. It's like, oh, because she's a manipulative woman. And no guys can ever be manipulators. Only women can. And so they're like, we got to get him out because she's manipulating all the other guys to go against each other and bros before hoes.
Okay there. Okay then, Incel.
Yeah, well, all the audience were acting like incels at that point. So when it came down to the final three, they voted out the lawyer because he was too boring in a lot of their eyes. So it came down to the frat boy, and it came down to the teenage heartthrob. And they ultimately went with the frat guy because, like I said, he's got the one leg, and they really felt bad for him, and they wanted to see him win the money. But the whole concept of it was, like, let's put these people up. And by the way, the stripper ended up becoming a climate change activist, which was, like, totally based. The black guy ended up becoming like a huge political activist in his hometown of Philly and is really well known there. The mom, like I said, got back together with her husband. The dad ended up going on the All-Star season, so I don't know what happened after that. The beauty queen ended up running her own makeup brand, and now she's almost a billionaire. Almost, I say. The lawyer, he went off and had a normal life. I think the teen heartthrob came out as gay or bi. I can't remember which one. And then I have no idea what happened to the frat guy that won. As far as I know, he got the money, and then he tried to become an actor, but they were like, you can't act. You suck at acting. So, yeah, it was like the whole concept of it was weird. Like, everybody, like, even when, and they even did interviews with people after, like the people afterwards on there, and they said, yeah, this show, like after they left the show, they were like, yeah, it just feels so weird now afterwards. Like, none of the people ever talk to each other anymore. Like the girl with the colored hair and the mom that just ranted about her husband, they actually moved in together after the mom got her house. So in California, so they instantly moved in together, and then they stopped doing it for some reason. Like, barely any of them even talk to each other. Like, they just say, yeah, it was an experience, and that was really it for them. But in the later seasons, it just got worse because they cut all their ties off with AOL. So they just made it all about the house guests, and and whoever was like the ruler of the house. At that point, they got like their own private room. They got to vote out whoever they wanted, and then the rest of the house had to vote out of the two who they wanted to see voted out. But a lot of it was a lot more manipulative and a lot more emotional, and there were a lot more, like this latest season, for example, like there was a lot of racism that went on there because there was like a black woman that was in there. And immediately, like all the racist attacks just went on her, and then the people that were and then people on Twitter like actually got on the producers of the show and said, we will all kick your fucking asses over at CBS if you don't acknowledge this shit. And they did. And half-heartedly, obviously, because they're like, these peasants are trying to ruin our show. But they, the criticism of it was so bad that they had no choice but to respond to it. And I think they kicked out the people that were being racist to her. Again, I haven't seen the season, so I don't know for sure. But there was like a lot more stuff. Like some guy ended up punching another guy in the face, and then they had to immediately kick him out afterwards because like you can't hurt people. There was even one contestant that got to get drunk with another person and then said this and then like put a knife up to the person's throat and then just made like a murder joke, which wasn't even really a joke. But they kicked him out of the show after that. It's like, no, you don't put a knife up to somebody's throat and then just make a murder joke like that. And then they even interviewed him afterwards. I'm like, don't you see how this could be problematic? And it's like, but I was joking. And people were like, what's the punchline? It's like, it's me punching you in the face. That's ultimately what it came down to. And then they didn't even acknowledge him afterwards. They didn't even bring him back for the reunion show. They said, yeah, you're a piece of shit. Go fuck yourself.
Correct option.
I was like, yeah, that's what happens. That's what you get. What you see is what you get. Yeah, but I don't think there was when it came down to like the house guests or whatever, like a lot of it was just what these people did to each other, more so than what the producers were doing to them. But the producers allowed a lot of shit to go down. Like shouting matches, just like these occasions where people were just being like very cruel in a lot of ways. And they were like, well, hey, it's good content. What do you want us to do? And we were like, anything. But no. That's Big Brother. I'm trying to think of any other ones that I watched that are like reality based. Well, obviously Kitchen Nightmares is definitely something that especially the British version. I don't know if anybody I think we talked about this once before, but what was it? There was the very first episode of Kitchen Nightmares in the UK, I believe. They had an episode where they try to save a restaurant, and the guy and the chef who was running it was 21 years old, had no experience cooking, and never cooked an omelet before, which is like the one thing you have to learn before you go to culinary school, or what you learn in culinary school. And after the show was over, the owner said that Gordon Ramsay ruined her restaurant, that it was all his fault that the restaurant was not doing good, and basically sued Gordon Ramsay for damages, and it went to court, and it didn't even get settled. And then the chef, and then I found out that she did like some tax shit, and then she ended up going to jail for it. But
Tax fraud?
Maybe tax fraud. I can't remember what, but I definitely know she went to jail. And then the chef who was on the show, he said, and Gordon even offered him a job at one of his restaurants, and he turned it down. But he really wanted to be a chef, and Gordon really liked him. Like really wanted to try to get him into the spotlight as a chef, because he always wanted to be a TV chef. That was his dream. And Gordon really had a lot of respect for him, even though he didn't know a thing about cooking. I was like, I could take him under my wing and I could make him a superstar.
That she needs to be mentored by Gordon fucking Ramsay.
Yeah, but he turned it down because what happened was, after the episode aired in the UK, he got so much shit that he tried to get interviews from other restaurants, and they realized, oh wait, you're that guy. Yeah, we're not offering you a job. So he couldn't even get job opportunities after the show because they saw just how much he sucked at cooking. So he ended up going into a life of, just drinking and stuff, and then ended up getting arrested for a DUI. Like even he even tried to get on the UK's Big Brother show. And they turned him down because they said, oh, you're that guy. And so after that, they said, yep, we're not having you on here.
Yikes.
Yeah, so that was that instance. But it's also just because a lot of the restaurants that get featured on there, they don't ever ever turn out to be much. They get completely closed after about a year. Like after Gordon Saves a Restaurant, they don't really stay open that long because they keep going back to the decisions that they were making before. And you think to yourself, well, how can that happen? And it's like, well, because the show only is at the restaurant for a week. Like they're not. It's like you can't save a restaurant in less than a week and expect them to completely think that this is going to be anything other than a dismal failure. You can't get that.
I was gonna say disaster.
Oh, that could be that could be a two, or I could have said nightmare. I mean, same thing with Bar Rescue. Bar Rescue has the same type of deal. That's like, oh hey, I'm gonna end up becoming a. I'm going to end up trying to do I'm going to try to save this bar, and then they wonder, like, well, why did the bar fail? It's like, well, it's because they went back to doing the old shit again.
They learned nothing.
Yeah, they never learn anything. And then, what is it? And then they, and then either they do renovations for the bar, and the only reason like the people that own the bar want to be on the show is so that they can get the renovation so that they could sell it later for money. That's what I found out in the later seasons of Bar Rescue. They were just using the production crew to get the better renovations so that they could sell it off months later so that they can get out with some money. And I'm like, well, hey, good for them. At least they took advantage of like a company that's like pretty much not doing anything with it. They're just doing a show for ratings anyway, so it's not like they're going to be scrapped for cash.
All right.
I'm trying to think of any others that I can think of off the top of my head in terms of reality shows that I've seen. Oh, the infamous Celebrity Apprentice episode with what was it? Piers Morgan and Omarosa. Omarosa was the original black woman villain. That's another thing about this reality shows too. Any black woman that comes on the show is automatically labeled the villain of the show. And it's
automatically labeled the angry and irrational.
Yes, very much so. And then, hold on, I'm trying to look at my options here. All right, so she was on the very first season of the show, and her actions on that show were so. What's the word? They were so, according to the audience, of like, oh, how dare she? That she was ultimately labeled the villain of the show, even though she got eliminated very early on. But they hated her so much that Asshole decided to bring her back for the first episode of or the first season of Celebrity Apprentice. And so Asshole thought it would be a good idea to put her in a team with British Asshole, Piers Morgan, and then there was one task where they had to raise money by going to Central Park, and then they had to give people rides. So in order to do that, they had to be like, hey, come get our things right there. But while they were on their way to the event, like, British Asshole and Omarosa got into a fight in the car. Well, first of all, Pierce got upset because Omarosa spelled his name wrong on the piece of paper. And then, so he immediately fires her from the task. And so Omarosa decided to go like, I don't know. She decided to go like all in. I don't know if that's the right word. But she just decided to, like, rip into Pierce, like, even going after his children. It's like, the mother of your children hate you, Pierce, and your children hate you, Pierce. They're embarrassed by you. And he's like, leave my kids out of this, you tramp. And so
I don't even know who the fuck this guy is, like...
He was like a judge on America's Got Talent. Like that's how he was like not even the American version, but he was just like the diet version of Simon Cowell. Oh God, we didn't even talk about him and what a dick he was to a lot of reality contestants. God, we didn't even talk about American Idol. Holy shit. There were so many other shows that I didn't bring up. But no, I knew him from America's Got Talent because he was just a diet Simon Cowell. But then he got so popular because of AGT that they were like, oh yeah, let's give him his own political show on CNN. And then, then he had his own show on the BBC, and then everybody said, like, oh, he was a piece of shit. But, like, the whole, like they were pretty much like, my whole point with it is, like, it's pretty much exposing the whole fact that it's like, oh, look at this black woman, like, treating this poor man and his child. He's going after his family. He's a good Christian boy, and he's going after his family and everything. It's like she didn't even talk bad about his kids. Like, he just said, like, oh, your children hate you, Piers, and your ex-wife hates you.
If anything, wouldn't that kind of be sympathizing with the kids? Like, oh, they got a shitty father. Those poor little innocent children who didn't ask to be born in this situation.
Yes,
exactly. A sperm donor like him.
Yes, and the way that the editing was done, and as editing in reality shows is horrible. But the editing, they made her look like to be a villain because they clipped her in an interview saying, like, I knew Pierce's weak spots and I exploited them. And the way she says it, she sounds like a
Robot?
Disney villain. In it. So it's like, oh, and they put like this menacing music behind her, and they made her out to be like this evil person.
So similar situation to like that second, or maybe it was the second one, but one of the live action Scooby-Doo's where like they edited it. So Fred's line was like, "You're gonna make it sound like we think Coolsville sucks," and then they cut it so instead, he's saying, we think Coolsville sucks.
Yeah.
So it's like that?
Yes.
Yikes.
And then, because of the whole Omarosa formula from The Apprentice, a lot of other reality shows started depicting black women as the villains in their shows. In fact, Big Brother Season 3, there was like this, I can't remember her name, but it was like so long ago since I watched it. And I know she's going to be on the All-Star season, so I'll see her again. But they decided to have their own black woman villain, and so they were like, "Ooh, I'm going to be manipulative, and I'm going to vote out each person out one by one by one." And it was like, well, wait a minute, why is that evil? She's practically playing the rules of the game. It's elimination, right? But they
no, she's doing what you're supposed to do in the game. How fucking evil, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, she got to the fight. And by the way, the music that they put on there, it was like, again, evil music, and they always showed her smiling in a devilish way. She never came off sympathetic on the show or empathetic on the show. She was always seen as like, oh, she'll talk behind your back. But it, like, she'll say one thing to you, but then when she's doing the interviews in the other room, she's like, "Oh, I got him right where I want him." I'm like, and the way that the later seasons of like Big Brother, like the contestants that get eliminated, they're the ones that pick the winner. So they decided to go for the bar waitress because she was a bar waitress and she had no money. And he was like, oh, but she was so nice to us. Her, that black woman, oh, she was manipulative. She stabbed us in the back. And people and she made the point after the season was over. They interviewed her after what happened, and they said, these people in season 2 of this show, people voted for the person that was stabbing everybody in front of their faces. He was out there lying in front of their faces and saying that he was going to lie to you and stab you in the back and all that. And they didn't even believe him. And he wins because they respect him for playing the rules of the game. But I play the rules of the game and I don't win this game? Like, how does that work? is like, I got a family to feed. She's a bar waitress, so she makes tips more than I make a job. I barely have a job as it is. I played the rules. All of a sudden, it's my fault that I played by the rules? What the fuck's this shit? So yeah, that's how that went down. And then I saw this in Hell's Kitchen. It's like the same thing with Hell's Kitchen. The same thing happens there, just with a different woman each time. I'm trying to think of and I can't think of any. Oh, and then there was another Celebrity Apprentice one where it was like one of the housewives of Atlanta or something, and she got in like Star Jones's face from The View. And there was like a big kerfuffle about that because it's like, oh, how dare you talk bad about Michael Jackson's sister LaToya, because she was on the show. And then like all this kerfuffle happened again, blah blah blah. And then it happened on another Celebrity Apprentice season where it was like that actress that was in the Cool Cat movie. They got her on.
Vivica A. Fox?
Yes, she was on there because I don't know if there was like controversy of that or if it was because of the Cool Cat movie, but she had a tit for tat with like one of the Real Housewives in New Jersey, I believe, or one of the other housewife shows. And they were both black women and they were both going after each other. And in the middle of a boardroom, and they were talking about how there was a tweet that Vivica put out about how she was going through menopause. And then you find out that, no, her phone was stolen, and then somebody tweeted that out against her will. So they were trying to figure out, like, who took the phone and who, like, did this tweet. Like, did she really have menopause? And I was like, no, she didn't really have menopause. And somebody said this about her. And, oh, was it the Real Housewife over there that said that? Because she really doesn't like Vivica. And it turned into this whole drama thing. It's like, oh, here we go again. Two villains going at it with each other again. And they did it all for ratings purposes. So... oh, and they hammed it up really well, too. I mean, they played their roles to a T for the producers. Like, it was like before Asshole started running for president. That was like the last season before that happened. And everyone was just like, holy shit, this is probably like the best thing that this show's ever done. Like, that episode was like lit and everything. And everyone's just like, what the hell? So yeah, those are just some examples that I could think of off the top of my head. I can't think of any other ones. I'm sure as much as I do my homework, I'll probably find more, but that's all I can think about.
I guess if there's any that Comments wants to mention,
I don't
hold on.
I don't think we have any.
I'm gonna check.
And then again, it's like it's really. I can't even look at chat right now. Wait, I'm not offline, game. I'm right here. The game says I'm not playing. I'm like, I'm playing right here. What are you talking about?
All right, no, none.
Okay. All right. Well, if they have something to say afterwards, which you're more likely to do, people, if you have something to say about this, then by all means, go ahead. But, yeah. So, I guess we could do fun stuff now.
All right.
Oh my god, a nightmare unicorn. What the fuck?
Nightmare unicorn.
Yeah, it's like one of the boss monsters in this game.
Dude.
All right, come on, fishy, fishy. Take the bait, fish.
We're waiting.
Come on, fish. Turn towards the thing.
What are you playing?
I'm playing Genshin Impact. I'm trying to catch fish.
Oh, my friends are trying to get me into that game. Is it free?
Yes, it's free.
Okay. Well, then I should have no problem playing it then.
Which game is it, Sylph?
It just Genshin Impact.
Genshin. Okay.
It's on different platforms too, and it's free to download.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in it, but you guys can do. I've got too many games I'm addicted to right now.
Already got the fish.
Nice. Especially Nightbringer. God, I've been on this game for like a week. I hope they do update their like main story. They've got like only 10 so far.
Are they going to include more?
I hope so. God, I hope so.
Ah, another duel goes down the drain. I'm excited because next week I'm going to be cooking up a storm.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I'll have the house to myself, so it's just going to be Kona and I'm going to have to ask Kona what she wants to eat in terms of food. Because Kona loves pasta. We don't give her a lot. We just give her, like, a small patch. But when she eats it, she's like, she'll eat the rest of her kibbles and her rice and chicken, and she's, like, all on board with it. So I'm trying to invite one of my cooking friends over, and we're like, oh, we could do like a whole series of things, but I'm trying to think about what I want to make. I'm thinking of doing like a ragu of some kind. 3 different types of meats, 3 different types of tomato sauce, 3 different types of vegetables, and then red wine and milk at the end. And then just
Nice.
and then just put it in with like some type of like penne or something, and then just be like, let's give this a
I just
whirl.
ate, but that sounds so nice.
What?
I said I just ate, but that sounds really nice.
Oh, well, one of these
yeah,
days.
same
So,
here.
one of these days. So,
And I
one
just
of
ate
these
too,
days.
dude.
And then the other thing I'm thinking of is like a tomato ricotta. So basically, you just cook pasta regularly. You get it sauce ready. You get the pasta boiling. The difference is you take some ricotta cheese and you take some Parmesan cheese. You mix them together with some pasta water that's been in the boiling pot for like 10 minutes or so. You mix it together to make like a ricotta cream, and then you mix it in with the tomato sauce, and it gives it like this cheesy texture to the sauce, and then you mix it in with the pasta, and it is delicious. It's like one of my favorite like lunches to have, and it's really filling too. Like you can have one bowl, and you're good to go for the rest of the day. You'll be wondering, do I even need to eat dinner? This was good.
Yeah, I got some stuff from DQ because it's finally open for the season.
Ooh, I didn't even.
Ooh.
God, we don't even have DQ anymore.
A burger.
We still do.
It was supposed to be. I was supposed to get a chicken patty sandwich, but they put like 2 chicken strips on the bun.
That's false advertising.
They might have been on a patty. I don't know.
I guess technically they could say that they were telling the truth, even though like it was kind of misleading at first. It's like the whole Obi-Wan thing. It's like, well, I didn't really tell you that your father died. I just said that the person that he was dead. So technically, I was right. I was like, eh. Yeah, we don't even have, yeah, like I said, we don't even have DQs anywhere anymore. There was only, in fact, I think there was only one that I ever grew up around. Everything, like, there's never a DQ anywhere else where I lived. In the county that I lived in, there was only like one place, and I only went there one time. I've never been to DQ since. And I remember the ice cream was good, and I remember saying, let's go back, and we never did. Because we found a mom and pop shop that served even better ice cream.
Nice.
And then we found a gelato place, and I'm like, oh my God, Italian ice cream. And then there was Italian ices, and I'm like, screw DQ. I'm going here from now on. They have my shit.
I actually got to try some of that at like one of the Disney places. A scoop of chocolate and a scoop of cookies and cream.
Ooh.
Yeah, I liked. They were nice. I think I liked the chocolate one more. Can't remember it though.
Well, the chocolate gelato is always good. You can't go wrong with that.
I think I wanted to get a strawberry one, but I don't think they had that. He had a coffee one that was like special, but yeah. Oh, hold on a sec. Okay, now there you are, Elliot. Sorry, I needed to check on him just very quickly. All right, this is probably gonna be a weird little rant, but my cat's weird. Like
Okay.
I have a bed frame that has a chest, or not chest, drawers that I could put clothing in, and he figured out how to open it. I want to know what he does when he opens it.
Rummages through it.
Yes, so I have pieces of the clothing that are on the floor in front of the drawer, and then he walks away. He doesn't do anything with it, just takes it out. It's like a little pile.
So you gotta put like a mechanism in place.
I need to figure out how to childproof it, because I had already have to childproof my desk cabinet. Where I had to put like a little this weird thing where you have to get rid of like open this thing and to be able to open the door. Because otherwise he'd be opening and closing the door. Like that one weird video where the guy's opening and closing the oven door.
Okay. Just for like.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the kid who's opening and closing the oven and you hear
Oh, it's like the musical oven. I've seen different renditions of that.
Yeah.
Door goes up, door goes down. Door goes up, door goes down. Door goes up, door goes down. Yeah, so I mean, if you do child like stuff, like I remember my sister always used to do rubber bands.
Oh, he would be too excited to play with that because he discovered that he likes rubber bands too.
My God, your cat loves everything.
He loves everything that I don't want him to touch. Like, there's a spot near my desk underneath the shelving that he has another stash of bottle caps.
Uh-oh, he's got his collection of bottle caps going.
Yep, he's got two of them. One under the shelf and one under the fan. Then,
apparently he's gonna be having his little collection like James from Team Rocket.
Oh. Then there's another thing that he does where he's figured out how to turn the fan off. Like he stands up on his little back legs. He puts his paw on the button for the fan and turns it off.
Is he just cold?
I don't know. Yes, you. I'm talking about you. Yeah, kissy face. Yeah, you little kitty cat. One more thing he does, and I'm trying to remember. I just forgot.
I'll probably come to you eventually.
Yeah. Oh, now I remember. Just had to look around the room. Sometimes he likes going into his little carrier. Except here's the problem with that. Sometimes he closes it and he can't get out. So he effectively locks himself in the carrier. Like, I've made jokes about how he's an honorary orange cat sharing the same brain cell with the other orange cats. You know, there's a joke that all orange cats have one brain cell and they're all trying to share it, but many of them don't get their turn.
I was about to say, do they all have like one hive mind, like the green aliens in Toy Story? It's like the Unimind.
Sure, why not?
We are one.
One.
Oh, okay.
I remember somebody saying on my Instagram feed, like they went on vacation without telling their cat, and so the cat, when the owner came home, the cat was like, "Where were you? And why were you gone for 2 days?" So they try to get Fancy Feast to make it up to the cat, and the cat wasn't having it. It's like, "I know what you're trying to do, human. It will not work." And the
bribery will not make up for this act of betrayal.
The owner was like, "Okay, I apologize," and the cat says, "Don't do it again."
Oh gosh, yeah, this little guy was not happy when I left. He spent most of his time in the window, though, even though it rusts his pretty fur. Did I mention that? Like, certain cats, their fur is, like, weaker to sunlight, so the more of the time they spend in it, like, it dulls into a reddish color, like, rust.
Cash
Wow.
goes to that all the time.
Yeah, you rust in your beautiful fur.
Cash rusts his fur too.
Aww.
In fact, he actually sleeps in the sun whenever there are days when he like paws at me and it's sunny out and it's like, I always tell him, you want some sunshine? And he often would look out the window to see
Little
look
sun
at the magnolia trees.
while watching his cat TV.
Yes, his little sun bath. Unfortunately, I didn't give it to him today because I was at work.
No. Oh, big boy stretch. Big boy stretch.
But I know he does
gosh.
love his... What?
Sorry, just speaking out loud, he was yawning and I caught his yawn.
Have you ever had an instance where you actually caught the the mouth open like real wide when he's yawning and you took a picture?
I think I've taken pictures like that before. Also, one of them when he was in the middle of a meow and he was in his cat bed.
Oh.
I miss when he was really small because he used to be able to go through a certain part of his got through a part of his cat house.
Because lately, whenever I go to sleep, he would always give me this look like he would like look at his water bowl and I'm like, dude, you've got a full thing of water. Like he's just eyeing me to pour him some more water at like 4 in the damn morning.
Oh gosh, yeah. Kitty wants water.
But it's like almost close to pouring out of his bowl. Like, damn. Oh, and he's asleep over at right by my TV stand, between the bathroom door and the TV stand. Papa. Yep. I don't know why he started sleeping there.
Oh, cats are weird and where they find comfort in areas.
Yeah, but there it is. He would sleep next to me in the bed. Watch me play my games, especially the rhythm game. And I was like, oh, there's extreme mode on it, and it annoys the living crap out of me. It's like the parts where you're supposed to hit the rhythm at, they're all over the place.
Oh.
And it just pissed me off.
Jeez. This guy, this guy looks like Howl. What the heck?
Which
From Howl's Moving Castle?
Like when he had the blonde hair?
The bowl cut?
Yeah, except it's more messy.
See.
Oh, if I go quiet for a few minutes, it's because I'm really focusing on this.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
The impact is kicking in.
Yeah, I have to fight a boss now.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Hopefully you don't have that one World of Warcraft person that was like back in like 15 years ago. It's like, all right, listen the fuck up. You're gonna DPS very, very slowly. By slowly, I mean fucking slow.
The one who punched his screen, or like the one like,
No, this was all audio based.
oh, well, I'm doing okay so far. I think I took a good chunk of their health out.
Well, that's good. That's a good way to start.
Oh, stupid little abyss mage. I said abyss, not a piss. This game isn't too bad. Just the big problem is got a little obsessed with certain characters.
Like other like to the point where it's like I want those characters, or to the point it's like, why do these characters exist?
Missed.
Like, oh crap, why did you have to introduce this character to me? They're amazing. And why can't I have them as a playable character on my team?
Like an NPC?
I mean, technically they're technically they can be played as like the way this game works is you have your main character that you can name, and then you can have like 3 other characters that are part of the story, but like they're like partners, like like with the stuff with Paper Mario.
Ooh,
Okay.
I like it already.
You're getting Joe invested now, Sylph.
And they have a bunch of different abilities. One of the first ones is this, like, she's okay, but like at the same time, it's kind of a pain in the butt to use her because she's long range. The only difference is that there's no turn base. It's all like as
Open
like
world?
no, I mean like the combat. It's not like turn based. It's you have to do it in real time.
That sucks.
Yeah, the people I have on my team are the main character who has this plant-based ability right now. The long-ranged archer. This guy who can. Oh, fuck you. This guy who can, like. The best way you can describe it, he can freeze stuff, and part of his combat is that he teleports behind the enemy while hitting them. So I want to say, unironically, the nothing personnel kid. I'm getting my ass kicked now. And then a character who's way into being a maid. That's her entire character. Where all her dialogue is just...
Huh?
Like, her stuff is just... Her dialogue's like stuff like, oh, it's a little dusty, I'll clean up.
Oh no.
But also she's, like, really strong, too. Like, she wields, I think the thing's called a claymore?
Oh. Those are not easy
Claymore,
to wield.
yeah.
It's a badass weapon. Not easy to wield. If you come across one, it's like I think it's a Scottish sword, or it has like Scottish legacy behind it. But it's like, yeah, if you come across this sword, be ready to fight with it because it is brutal.
It is a big ass... Fucking hell! I almost have this guy beat, but like...
You're just like, what the fuck?
This is way too hard now.
Oh god, I'm literally going up against someone whose name is Senpai.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
Thank god his name is not Kevin.
Damn, I was close to getting an S there. Crap.
So anyone got any exciting news or?
The guy just gave up because I hand trapped him.
What an idiot.
It was just like, you ruined my strategy, I quit. It was like, what the hell, dude?
Okay. Alright. Cry some more, dude.
That's some Kevin energy right there.
Big Kevin energy.
Sounds like a real bro moment right here, guys.
I mean, sometimes I'll quit because I realized, oh, I don't even have the right deck. And then I'm just like, oh, I gotta completely change it up. Oh, I already did this. Where am I going? The shop. Well, here's the thing. Monday, I'm going to start doing my solo shows that I was talking about. I'm going over some news of the week, talking about some stuff that happened there, and then going from there. I'm going to hopefully I could try to get the Elgato to work, because Elgato has just been, like, it's just been brutal. I don't know what it is. Like, ever since that update happened, I don't know if it can keep up with, I don't know if it's because it can't keep up with the graphics updates that I just did recently, or if it's just because the Elgato itself is bad and they just made a bad product. I don't know. Because I used it, like, way back in 2014 when I got the original one. It worked really well and it was kick-ass. Now this one is just like, I don't know. It's not doing the same stuff as that. So hopefully I could figure it out by then, because I really want to show off Stadium. Because Pokemon Stadium, I was like so excited when that came out. I was playing it all the time. But if not, then we'll do the Sonic murder mystery game.
Oh, that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun, the murder mystery one. I mean,
Yes. Because it got really good reviews on Steam. So I'm like, ooh, I wonder who killed Sonic.
Shit. Might be. Drats. Oh well. And I only missed 8 on hard mode. That's sad. Sorry, I'm just distracted by a game. Oh, scheiße.
I really don't want to play another game right now. I'm kind of tempted because I just got a new card, but I'm like, I've already gone through enough duels already. I've reached my dueling limit. Alright, well, in that case, might as well end the show a little bit early tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, people, Circus was not feeling well today. She had, like, a very bad throat infection of some kind. So,
just hoping she's recovering.
yeah, we're gonna check up on her later. So, in the meantime, Monday will be the first solo show of mine. So check that out when you get a chance. Wednesday, we'll get more into Danganronpa. I will double, triple, quadruple to the 5th power, check everything, make sure everything's good. And then Friday, since it is technically the beginning of... No, not even May yet. We have... The next 2 weeks is Cinco de Mayo. But the week after, the next week is the 28th, so there's really nothing going on. So we'll have to think of something then. If anything, we'll just play the murder mystery game. Or a Sonic one, I should say, because we've been playing murder mystery games for the past few months. But until then, hope you all have a good weekend, and we'll catch you all, I'll see you all on Monday. But
Everyone
we'll
take care.
but we'll all be